Live from New York. It's a show that is 100% locked in and really is taking issue with Greg Jennings, who will be coming up in the next block.
Really?
Huge violation.
Oh, yeah.
Huge
What
violation.
did he do? What did he do?
Cooked fish upstairs in the coffee room.
No.
He was cooking fish.
The entire second, third, and fourth floor smells like fish.
Someone said he was cleaning it.
It smells
That
like
he
was
caught a
cleaning it.
fish and was scaling it next to the coffee.
He only eats a handful of things, and one of them is fish.
I've
Fresh
never
fish.
seen him eat anything but chicken
Rice.
and rice with a little hot sauce.
Go upstairs.
Well,
It smells-
I don't know
I've
what's
got,
going on
again,
up there.
no
Bad up there.
spoilers, but in a turn of serendipity, if you're mad at Greg Jennings, you might really like today's sports media on
Love it.
I didn't even know he did this.
We're starting in Philadelphia. Reports of some frustrated Eagles, and the rumor mill is churning. This is about a 20-minute news read to get to all the frustrations.
Okay.
Diana Rossini reporting the players have grown frustrated with Jalen's hesitancy to throw into tight windows. Okay. Derek Gunn also said there's a disconnect between the plan that they set out and the actual game because Jalen is locked in on, quote, his game. He's just playing his game, which is reportedly frustrating the coaching staff and the players. Okay, is it fair to put the Eagles' struggles on Hurts? And I put struggles in quotes.
Because they have the best record in the NFC.
So it's kind of, the whole thing is kind of
8-2. They're
Yeah.
really struggling. Look, Jalen Hurts is not beyond reproach. And he's not on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks in the league right now. So I'm not trying to act like he's been perfect and all that. But my answer to this question is no. And here's why. What'd they do last year? They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Here are Jalen Hurts' numbers last year compared to this year. Better passer rating this year. Touchdown to turnovers, look at the pace at the bottom. He's on pace for 37 touchdowns and 5 turnovers. That's half the turnovers last year and more touchdowns. Yards per game passing is actually better this year, and then yards per pass attempt is a little bit lower. So he's playing better statistically this year than he was last year. So why would we put the whole offense on the struggles on him? Because you know who's not playing as well as they did last year? The offensive line and Saquon Barkley. And here are their numbers, or Saquon's numbers. I mean, half the running yards from last year. Yards per attempt, 4 is standard. You got to get 4 yards per attempt. He's not getting that. And he's on pace for 7 touchdowns. He had 13 last year. And so Saquon and the offensive line are kind of getting a pass.
What makes you say the offensive line's worse?
Well, I think because of the injuries. Okay. And I think also Saquon last year was getting 3.5 yards before even contact. So I think the offensive line is definitely not as good. It's still highly ranked by Pro Football Focus and people like that. But so the O-line and the run and Saquon are really getting a big pass, I feel like. And again, I'm not saying none of it's on Hurts. Well, some of it's on him too. But it is, and I think the people complaining, everybody's reported it's more than the receivers, which I believe. I'm sure there are other people. But a lot of it is just the receivers wanting to put up numbers. I think, Nick, if you didn't have the star caliber receivers they have who want to put up numbers, and I understand that, I don't know if this would be that much of a concern.
But if you didn't have star receivers, it would be more understandable that the offense has not been effective. The team has been great. The offense has not been effective.
Well, it's been effective because they couldn't be 8-2 if the offense wasn't effective.
Well, I mean,
they scored 33 against the Rams. They scored 31 against Tampa Bay.
They have had these pops of high scoring games, but on a down-to-down basis, game-to-game basis, I believe the offense is underachieving its talent level.
Well, I would agree with that.
Right, and so if you had no-name wide receivers, then the talent level that you expect to achieve to would be different. But you have excellent wide receivers. I disagree. The only thing you said there that I firmly disagree with is I think the offensive line's been excellent again this year.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been one of the best offensive lines in football. Now, I'll see how not having Lane Johnson could change that, but he just went out.
So you put the running woes completely on Saquon.
No, I think that it could be excellent and still not as good as it was last year. So you know what I mean? Because I think last year was probably the best or second best in football, and this year call it fifth or sixth. And a lot of it is on the wear and tear on Saquon. I do think that. But certainly pass blocking, I am not watching Philly and like, man, Jalen Hurts under duress.
That's right.
I'm watching Philly and he has time and he's patting the ball. And when I say the offense has been ineffective, it is, again, the team's been great.
It's
but
number
these
one
two,
in the red zone.
They've been very good, and Jalen gets credit for that. These two graphics that I keep going to me, are noteworthy.
I think this is a
They go
fascinating
3 and out more than any team in the league, and everyone else on there has a young quarterback that we, have varying levels of trust in.
Can I ask you a quick question here?
Yes.
It's a little sidebar. I am surprised that the Broncos are right there. Like, two of the best teams in the league are high on this.
Yeah,
graph.
well,
They both
Next to
have
the
great
Titans.
defense.
Yeah, they both have great defenses, and they've both been clutch. And then you pair it with, okay, forget 3 and out, drives that end in punts. Again, it's young quarterbacks. The Bengals injured quarterback. The Jets have just been bad. Justin Fields isn't young anymore. And the Eagles. So those are, to me, flashing red lights of concern. And then there is the other element of, I am not taking all of the anonymous reporting as gospel. However, we have a building, catalog of griping about Jalen Hurts that is being associated with people around the team, and a building catalog of blaming Kevin Patullo from people on the outside. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot of anonymous reports of people mad at the new offensive coordinator, who I think understandably early on was like, he's just screwing up. Right. There now is more and more that they're watching film and saying, hey, why are you not making this throw? And it reminded me of something Jalen said last year in December. And again, they went on to win the Super Bowl. So maybe the argument is it doesn't matter. But when there were complaints about throws he would, or more importantly, would not make, and I'm not even saying that's necessarily a bad thing. But
it's not a bad thing, because it's all about winning.
Of course it's all about winning. I don't think, and tell me if you disagree, I don't think there's a person complaining about this, except for maybe A.J. Brown, who, if it's like, hey, I guarantee you, we're going to win the Super Bowl again, that they'd still be upset.
Of course.
I think most people are complaining, it's concern that, hey, this is going to catch up to us. And so, and I think it is fair that Jalen has become so turnover averse, he is leaving plays on the field. And when you don't have Saquon being dominant, it has led to an offense underperforming its talent level. That's what I think, KW.
So the interceptions in 2023, he had those 15 interceptions.
Yeah. And the supernatural
funk, you're turning the ball over. He went into, remember, he had and then the first 4 games of last year, he's a little more turnover prone. And then he basically shut off the faucet on turnovers. They won the Super Bowl, and now they're 8-2.
But you don't like
that's
the offense.
That's a huge part of their success.
Yes.
Is the fact that they
don't lose the
fewer turnovers than any team in the league.
So the question is this. Is this, like you said, like, the canary in the coal mine, like this is going to bite us? If it never bites them, then so be it. It's just kind of like a little bit of an ugly path to another Super Bowl championship. The weirdest part is, I think this is, as you like to say, broken contain. Now Jalen is having to talk about it. Sirianni's getting frustrated. AJ is sort of like stoking the frustration. Devontae hasn't really said anything. Deshaun Jackson said he knows what's going on, doesn't want to get into it. Kelsey's talking about it, says I really believe there's a lot of frustration. Other local reporters. This is Nick Sirianni's job. You don't call the plays on offense. Yeah. Vic Fangio does the defense. Howie Roseman does the GMing.
Yes.
This is your job to set a culture and tone for the team. Figure out a way to get in front of this and dead it. I'm not sure how, but I don't think it would be happening if Mike Tomlin was the coach.
Hold on. It could be happening in Kansas City right now. Now, maybe not talking about Mahomes because of who he is, but you don't hear complaints coming out of Kansas City. Right now, they're 5-5. You didn't hear it last year when they were struggling, winning.
More like the Eagles.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Heard none of this. So this is definitely Sirianni. That's a good call.
Before we move on, can I ask just a football philosophy question? Do you think there is such a thing as being too turnover averse? So here's why I ask. Tom Brady played forever. How many for his career? How many interceptions, not fumbles, just interceptions a year do you think he averaged for his career? Average.
I'm going to say 10.
11.
I'll take the over, yeah.
11. Peyton Manning had one season his whole career with fewer than 10, and he had 9 that year.
But back then, it was different. Quarterbacks had a lot more interceptions.
Yes, but it was, and that's why I wanted to bring up Brady, was because he played, and
Rodgers
is the opposite, right? Rodgers has been super turnover averse his whole career. And so the reason I'm saying it is, football is changing, over the last decade, where quarterbacks' turnover numbers are going way down. And so maybe if everyone's doing it, that's the cost doing business. You have to do it. Like Baker leading the league with 16 is crazy.
Right.
And that 16 would have never led the league 10 years ago, certainly not 20 years ago. But it seems like Philly feels, the way I read it is, we won that game 10-7. We had the opportunity to score 27. And if in doing that, we give up one more touchdown, it's actually still a safer win.
Yes.
Are we leaving 3 touchdowns on the field to prevent one mistake on offense? And so that to me, again, the fact that they've won like 27 out of 30 games or whatever it is makes it feel like what they're doing is why change anything? But it seems like the people closest to it feel like, man, we are playing with fire and not putting our foot on the gas offensively.
Can I read something from Orlovsky, who does do a great job? We joke around about any rivalry, but Orlovsky does a great job. Since 2022, including the playoffs, Jalen Hurts is 32-1 when they win the turnover battle. That's from Orlovsky. I was like, oh,
yeah, I heard.
I feel like that just ends the debate. Like Jalen Hurts, like, I'm not turning the ball over. We win the games. I'm not going to do it. And I'll deal with the issues.
Well, and that's what. And that. Listen, I agree with you. I think Dan does a good job. I think that stat is not as impressive as it sounds in that regard.
Put him on the sports media.
No, like Josh, like you could.
You're saying most teams.
Yeah, I'm saying like.
It's not. That's just
Mahomes was, and I'm not comparing. Mahomes had one loss over 3 years when they won or tied the turnover battle, and it was the Lions game. I bet.
You think you do if you do so much winning, you can.
I just
my whole
your stat is impressive.
Phases,
What did you say,
phases of the moon.
Right. It's 20. And I bet Josh Allen. I bet the Bills, when they win the turnover battle over the last 3 years, have lost maybe 3 times instead of 1. Right. So I think the Eagles win 75% of their games. So of course they win even more than that when they win the turnover battle. So I don't think it's that shocking, but I understand why he doesn't want to change it. But it seems like, man, there's some frustration that he won't.
But they need to get a control of that in the organization. It should not be all this complaining, period.
I wonder if it starts to become a rallying cry. That there's a little bit of us, an odd us against the world, even though the world is actually internal.
I was going to say, like, they're a part of us is the complaining, at least according to the
reports.
That's
the thing and I know we have to move on. When you're saying Sirianni's got to get in front of it, here is what I find interesting. Is it Sirianni's job to, again, hypothetically, if 80% of the most important people on offense in one way or another kind of agree with AJ's complaints, is it Sirianni's job to convince them to change their opinion? Or is it Sirianni's job to get through to Jalen to change how he's playing? You know, like if the numbers are that, hey, there is something wrong with the offense, do you change the offense or do you change everyone's opinion?
That's a good question.
But the other thing is this: Saquon's not complaining. I would bet that because he's not doing his job.
Saquon's like, I'm glad
right,
nobody's talking about me.
Right, nobody's looking at me. Is the offensive line complaining? I mean, maybe, but we know AJ doesn't get much separation. So all this talk, they're looking at film and they see these plays to be. AJ, nobody's looking at film and say, man, AJ's wide open because he doesn't get much separation. He can catch contested balls. I'm just saying, I wonder, like, it's probably some receivers and other people in the organization, but how important are those people in the organization? Okay. Is Petula complaining privately? Maybe. He probably is.
He's not executing my game plan, and I'm getting blamed. Maybe.
Talk about the Chiefs. Hosting the Colts. Now, according to PFF, I switched it up on you.
Even worse.
Fresh. With a win, the Chiefs have a 68% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose,
is it like 27?
33%.
Yeah. That's still.
Chiefs season over with a loss.
It'd be on life support.
Eek.
But the flip side to that, Brew, is they're a week away from flipping the narrative, from being able to flip the narrative. 1 week, if they win Sunday, 1 week from today, they play in Dallas on Thanksgiving and have the ability to get to 7-5 with games remaining against the Titans and the Raiders, and then three home games.
Yep.
Houston, Denver, the Chargers. And it's like, hey, you know, if can we get to 7-5 by a week from today? I am going to say, as shaky as the Chiefs have been, they haven't played poorly against awful teams. They've blown awful teams out. So let's say they're going to handle the Titans and the Raiders. And then we have home games against teams that we feel deep down we're better than. Certainly we're as good as in Denver and the Chargers and Houston. And then have the chance to be the scariest 7 seed in the tournament's history. That is all still in front of them. But if they lose, Brew, then I do believe they have to run the table. And if they lose back-to-back peak motivation, must-win adjacent games against teams that I believe are good but not great in Denver and the Colts, then why would I say that they are? I wouldn't say they can't, but it would be foolish for me to say they will all of a sudden run the table.
Yeah, look, right now I'm at 45% that they missed the playoffs. So I was 50, I said it yesterday, 55%, or I said it
Good
Monday,
math.
whatever.
Yeah.
If they lose, I can't write off Mahomes and Reed just because of what they've done, just until they're like mathematically out. But I would go to 85% they missed the playoffs. So from 45% to 85%.
Yeah.
That's less than your little bracket or whatever you put together.
Well, 15%, so you would give them basically a dice roll, a 1 in 6 shot.
And it's because of what you said. Obviously, the math gets problematic at 5 and 6. But beyond that, I would just really think this would be their 3rd straight loss, first time in Mahomes' career. Like you said, Buffalo, obviously, they were up for that game. They were up for the last game because they needed it. And then this game, you know you're up for, and you still lose. And this would be at home. And why? I just don't think, you know what? They're not good enough to run the table this year. They're not going to run. It's hard for me to see, I'll give them this, Denver and the Chargers sweeping them. Now, maybe the fact that the Chargers game was in, Brazil, that's a different type of
like a
sweep.
Whole different.
Yeah. But the Chargers are banged up on the offensive line, so maybe that makes a difference. But if they lose to the Colts, I would just feel like they're not good enough to run the table. And Bo Nix and Daniel Jones.
Right.
It wouldn't be Burrow and Lamar or something. It's Bo Nix and Daniel Jones. So you lose to them, then you can definitely lose to any of these other teams. And they don't have the tiebreakers against Jacksonville and Buffalo. That's a problem, too.
Well, that's why, by the way, for most teams, 10-7 in the AFC, 10-7 would get you in.
Yep.
The Chiefs, it probably won't because they don't have the tiebreakers with the other potential 10-win teams. Most notably, right now, the Chargers, and even if they beat the Chargers, they don't take over the tiebreaker. They could, but they wouldn't automatically and Jacksonville they won't have the tiebreaker with because they lost head-to-head. Buffalo, they won't have the tiebreaker with because they lost head-to-head. So they really have to get to 11 wins. Do you want to say something?
No, I had a question for you because Andy Reid was asked jokingly if he thought the long seasons back to back it was taking a toll on the team.
Yeah, 7 straight.
And he joked around and he's like, "Yeah, I'm tired of these press conferences." But if we've seen Travis kind of have a good season, and the receivers are back, do you think this team is just either physically or mentally taxed?
Listen,
and we're starting to see it.
Yes. I mean, the only precedent for what the Chiefs have done is the Patriots from 2011 to 2018 when they made 8 straight conference championship games. They made, in that stretch, 5 Super Bowls, and they won 3 of them. That 2018 Patriots team was exhausted, and 2019 was done. You know what I mean? Was done and dead. And so, yeah, I think that's a part of it, but it doesn't. That can be a part of it, and they should be 7-3. Like, fact of the matter is, they had the Jacksonville game in Jacksonville and Denver. They had leads in the fourth quarter with the ball, and they lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not exhaustion. That's they didn't execute. But I want to say one last thing about the Chiefs that I'm certain you'll agree with. This is more just the public at large. Because there is a lot of the Chiefs aren't scary anymore. The aura's gone. As you know, the dynasty is dead, all of that. And a lot of folks claim to believe that, and they are fans of other teams. And I am sitting here telling you all, even if you think you believe it, when you're watching Chiefs Colts on Sunday, you will realize you do not believe it at all. Because you will find yourself rooting so incredibly badly for the Indianapolis Colts. Because nobody that's a fan of any of these other playoff teams wants the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
No, so you can say Bronco fans or Patriot fans or Bills or whomever, this Chiefs team we're not scared of. See who your brain is telling you are rooting for on Sunday. It's what Greg alluded to yesterday. The whole AFC playoff field is hoping the Chiefs aren't a part of that field, which I think speaks to how scary they are if they get in, but they have to get in.
Yeah, they're going to be scary, and we're not going to believe they're dead, so to speak, until they lose in the playoffs. That's it.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow. New video today. He's looking spry out there.
Down to 6.5.
Yet another new haircut. He's not confirmed to play against the Patriots. Of note, the Bengals also have a game on Thanksgiving against the Ravens. If I were Joe Burrow, I would wait and play Lamar. But there's a chance he plays against the Patriots since he's 3-7. Does anyone think Joe Burrow has something to prove?
Yes, absolutely. And it's on one thing only, that he can stay healthy.
Oh.
He is the Anthony Davis of the NFL. Like, great player, no doubt about it. Can't stay healthy. Like, rookie year, missed 6 games. 2023, missed 7 games. This year, he's missed 8 so far. I think we have a graphic. Since he entered the league, he's played 71 games, missed 22. For quarterbacks, this is not unprecedented, but very rare.
Yeah.
And he's missed the 4th most games since he's been in the league. Look, we know he's great. 2 years ago when he came back and he was a little maybe banged up but played through it, didn't look good. Jake Browning played as well as him. They went 5-5. He came back last year and proved I'm still Joe Burrow, was phenomenal. I have no questions about his ability. I just have questions about, will this guy stay healthy?
Yeah, that's the number one thing right there, his health. But for me, even though we saw this entire outfit perform great on the offensive side of the ball, defense obviously struggle. Kind of the same season this year. Offense is having a decent season. Defense is struggling even worse. Joe Burrow is kind of giving vibes on top of the injuries. We're starting to treat him kind of like Justin Herbert, where he can do no wrong. And I'm at the point now, just because this defense is bad, I don't care. I just need you to be the difference maker.
Well, last year, because that's all we got to go on, right?
I understand that. But I go off the start of this year too. His first 2 games, we don't look at it because he got hurt almost immediately. But he didn't look great. The offense didn't look great to start the season. Even though they started off,
won.
They did win. So we gloss over that. Now you're 3 games back in your division. You have a chance if you decide to come back, which I don't think he plays this week, or I don't think he plays Sunday. I do think he waits. But
plays against the Ravens.
If you have a chance, if you are to come back and you're still at the minimum 3 games back, you got to make a push with or without that defense helping you. Because you are Joe Burrow. You can balk at you.
Are you killing Dak this year?
No, I'm not.
Everybody's giving Dak praise.
But Dak's not. But
we're not killing Dak. They're out of it.
Dak's not on your Mount Rushmore though of current quarterbacks.
No, but I'm
Dak's
just saying everybody's like Dak is playing as well as any quarterback.
I'm not saying Joe Burrow is not a good player. But the expectation can't be solely
put up numbers.
Put up numbers, and even though your defense is good, we still don't expect you to win. No, we still expect you to win. That's what we've been doing with Justin Herbert.
Well,
but his defense isn't giving up 30 points a game. I hear what you're saying because I agree. A quarterback, we always talk force multiplier. You should make your team better. I'm just saying their defense is so bad. They're giving up 30. I mean, last year what they averaged offense, and they still lost all those games. So I just think it's an exception.
So I think it's a little more nuanced than maybe either point in this regard. Yes, the defense is terrible, and yes, his numbers are awesome. One of the reasons his numbers are awesome is because at his behest, they put all their resources into receivers, which is then and that's why. And I was doing it tongue in cheek, but the point I was making of the Bengals with Joe Flacco score a bunch of points and put up great passing numbers, lose games. Right. It reminds me a lot of the Bengals with Joe Burrow. Obviously, Joe Burrow is far better than Joe Flacco at his peak and better than Joe Flacco right now. But the point I was attempting to make is maybe there is a little bit of reputational benefit Joe Burrow gets from the numbers that you can get with these superstar receivers while escaping the reputational hit of the cost of all your team's resources being in the quarterback and the receivers. It's like, well, what more can he do? So there's that piece of it. The reason that I think he has something to prove is nobody is going to say Joe Burrow is no longer elite. Joe Burrow is no longer good. But Joe Burrow, amongst the other Mount Rushmore quarterbacks, his whole thing was clutch. Big wins. Really beating Patrick. But you know what I mean? The fact that he got the Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals, to back-to-back conference championship games. Joe Burrow's last playoff win and last playoff appearance is 7 days more recent than Trevor's last playoff appearance. Think about how long ago and I'm not comparing the two players. I'm saying just think about how long ago we think of the Prince's playoff game. There have been 11 quarterbacks. Patrick, Josh, Lamar, Baker, Goff, Jordan Love, C.J. Stroud, Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels, Matt Stafford, Jalen Hurts win a playoff game since Joe Burrow did. If we assume the Bengals aren't getting there this year, some more names are going to be added to that list this year. There's going to be, whether it's May, Nix, Herbert, Caleb, Darnold. There's going to be some first-time playoff winners or, some new play. So what he has to do is I agree with Greg in this regard. He's never, I don't think, going to have the wow factor of Josh. The Mahomes is almost in his own category because he's done both. Lamar's obviously a different player. His thing was supposed to be, yeah, man, but winning. I play in big games.
Joe cool.
And I keep my cool. If you're no longer playing in big games, you can't reputationally get there. And when Stafford finally hangs it up, Burrow's also like the last of the I have to only beat you with my arm quarterbacks.
Golf?
Golf too, but all the other guys have an extra gear to get to. So I do think there is, not that anyone's going to be like Joe Burrow.
Right.
He's the 13th best quarterback in football, but I think he loses his, kind of unimpeachable status the more years that go on without him having an opportunity to play in big games.
Speaking of another legendary quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. New video today.
Yeah, he's legendary.
No, I'm talking because I felt weird saying Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah, Joe Burrow's not yet legendary. Aaron Rodgers definitely is. Thanks to Greg Jennings.
I'm trying to find. Dusty said he's going to have a brace on his wrist.
He was wearing one.
I'm scouting for the brace. I haven't quite seen him here. Zooming in. Kind of like that. Joe Burrow 25-5 against the Bears.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, sorry, Aaron Rodgers. What's going on here? Is it a good idea for Rodgers to play against the Bears?
Well, first, I mean, we don't know the degree of the break, so I think that's a factor. But I would say this. If the doctors tell him, look, it's not going to be better a month from now. If you can play, we'll clear you to play, but a month from now it's still going to be just as bad, then I think he should play. Because a month from now, season probably is over for them as far as getting in the playoffs. And he's 41. This might be his last hurrah. So I would say go play. If they say, look, you wait a week, it'll be much better. Pain will be much better. You'll be, not in as much danger as far as if you fall. Then I would say wait a week. See if Mason
fracture heals in a week.
I mean, I'm just saying we don't know the degree, so I'm just wondering if there could be any difference in a week versus a month or things like that. So
it's weird.
Good idea for him to play? No, it is not. However, it's against the Bears. And not just because he dominates the Bears, but the Bears in their pass rush, it's almost non-existent. Like they're 22nd in sacks, 29th in pressure, 27th in pressure percentage. And he already gets rid of the ball. Regardless of what the break is, how the break looks, and if it will heal sooner rather than later, if he feels like he can protect himself, he plays. If he feels like I see this outfit, when I watch film, I know how I can escape getting hit, he plays. And I know that sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but when you go up against a team that doesn't get a lot of pressure, he already gets rid of the ball. He's going to his pride, his ego, because he owns this. He owns this team. He's going to want to play in this game.
This is okay. Quick story, and careful, Brew, so you're going to want to make fun of me.
Here we go.
So people watch the show know a couple years ago I broke something similar to Aaron.
How?
No one knows.
Brew knows, which is why I said careful. I believe the story is I slipped on the stairs. But regardless, I was texting and my dog tripped me. Regardless,
Fabrication.
at the hospital, the doctor gave me a sling. And I'm like, why? Like, it's not a shoulder thing. It's here, my arms. He's like, no. He's like, honestly, it's because people are more careful around you. They see you're in a sling, and they're like, and he's like, until we put the steel plate in that I ended up needing, he's like, you just don't want anyone to bump into you on the street. So again, his concern was someone just walking, with a briefcase might bump into me and would mess up my arm. Aaron Rodgers talking about playing a tackle football game, and Greg, I understand the Bears don't have a great pass rush.
Wait, who are we talking about?
I understand it's Aaron Rodgers versus
We're not talking about
I get you're a ruffian. You're,
Again,
but I mean,
to clear
we're
that
talking
up.
about a
I
professional
understand
football
all of
player.
that, but the 22nd best pass defense or pass rush has no impact on. Do we think that Aaron Rodgers is going to go an entire NFL football game and not get hit one time?
No, but it does have an impact, because if he were playing the Broncos and we know how they get after the quarterback, you think he's going to be like, yeah, probably going to. No, I'm going to wait.
Okay, that's fair. The point that I'm making, maybe awkwardly, is he already was playing such a safe style of football that I think it put their offense behind the 8 ball in a lot of ways. if we are going to see a quicker release, more conservative
1.7
Aaron
seconds.
Rodgers, then you are not, their best chance to win would be with Mason Rudolph. You can't have, the guy was already playing almost a different position than everyone else. And now it's going to be, I have to be even more careful because if I fall down, I'm going to be out for the year.
I do think
crazy.
that's fair in that if he's going to go out there and look, salute for going out there and giving it a try. But if he's going to hurt them because he's so cautious, Rudolph isn't close to Aaron Rodgers. We get that. But he was throwing the football down the field a lot more.
He's not a
Maybe
kid.
it gives him a better chance in this one game. Right,
like
he's a good backup. He could get a win. No question about that.
They had him start a playoff game for them not that long ago.
It's not just about the physical attributes. It's about what he brings from a mental standpoint, like pre-snap, getting them in the right place. It's different. Rudolph is nowhere close to going to play the mental game that Aaron will play. I know, to your point, he will have to play quicker and safer. So you lose something there, but you still right. Hey.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.